Hi, Stefan Swartling here. I've been using my iPad Air 4 since it was released in the year 2020, and it's a really good iPad, and it's very fast and powerful. I bought a 256GB version, and I also bought the Magic Keyboard to the iPad Air 4. It's a great combo. It makes the iPad Air 4 into a real laptop. I can do a lot of stuff on the iPad Air 4. I can do video editing, I can do audio recording, audio editing, editing images and photos and much more. And I can write a lot of text on it. I can blog on my blog. It's an excellent keyboard, the Magic Keyboard. I really love typing on the Magic Keyboard for my iPad Air 4. So everything has been fantastic with the iPad Air 4 since I bought it. But if you combine the price for the Magic Keyboard and the iPad Air 4 itself with a 256GB of storage, then you have the same price as a MacBook Air running the M1 CPU. So if I had to choose now if I should buy the iPad Air 4 with the Magic Keyboard or a MacBook Air with the M1 CPU, then I definitely had chosen the MacBook Air, because a Mac today can run iPadOS apps, so you can run, for example, LumaFusion perfectly fine on a MacBook Air. It works great, so you don't need Final Cut Pro on a Mac anymore. If you have bought LumaFusion for an iPad, you can have it on a Mac, and you can even buy it for the Mac, so it's much cheaper than Final Cut Pro. And that is just one example of software you can use on a Mac that is actually made for iPad. And you get so much more with a Mac, so the MacBook Air is a much better buy than an iPad Air 4 with a Magic Keyboard. So now to the question, should you buy the brand new iPad Air 5 2022? Well, I guess if you only buy the iPad Air 5 and not the Magic Keyboard, I think it's worth the money. Even with the 256GB of storage, I think the price is very good for what you get. But if you also need the Magic Keyboard and want to have the Magic Keyboard to your iPad Air 5 2022, then definitely no. I think you should go for a MacBook Air, the cheapest MacBook Air running M1. You get so much more for the money. And you should definitely not buy the iPad Air 5 if you already have the iPad Air 4. It's definitely not worth that upgrade. The problem is when you buy the Magic Keyboard for an iPad, then you hardly never take off the Magic Keyboard case with the keyboard from the iPad, because it's so handy to always have the keyboard with you wherever you go. So you will always have the iPad into your Magic Keyboard. And that means that it actually is a laptop and not a tablet. So if that is what you want, you should definitely buy a MacBook instead of the iPad with a Magic Keyboard. The price will not differ much, so you definitely will be better off buying a MacBook Air. But if you want to have a tablet, just the tablet and not the keyboard, then I guess you can buy the iPad Air 5. I think it's a better buy than the iPad Pro, because then you get the EPS display, and that is much better for your eyes and headaches and so, problems with PWM, pulse width modulation, that you get from mini LED and OLED. So if you buy the iPad Air instead, you don't get the PWM problems that you get with iPad Pro. So if you only want to have a tablet and not the Magic Keyboard case, then go for the iPad Air 5 instead of the iPad Pro. So I think that is my answer to should you buy the iPad Air 5? You should do that if you only want a tablet and nothing else. Otherwise, you buy a MacBook Air instead. Okay, bye.